Iran's foreign policy has long been a subject of intense scrutiny and debate. Its actions reverberate throughout the Middle East and beyond. The recent passing of President Raisi has sparked questions about potential shifts in Iran's geopolitical strategy. However, early indications suggest a continuation of existing policies, particularly towards Iraq. This steadfast approach underscores the deep-rooted principles and long-term objectives that guide Iran's actions on the world stage. Understanding Iran's foreign policy necessitates delving into its historical experiences and ideological underpinnings. The Islamic Revolution of 1979 marked a turning point, shaping the country's worldview and its interactions with the world. The legacy of this revolution, with its emphasis on self-reliance and resistance against foreign interference, continues to profoundly influence Iran's strategic calculus. This is particularly evident in its approach towards Iraq, a country with which it shares a long and complex history. Iran and Iraq share a border stretching over 1,400 kilometers, a testament to their intertwined history. This proximity has fostered deep cultural and religious ties, but it has also been the backdrop for centuries of conflict and mistrust. The Iran-Iraq War of the 1980s, a brutal 8-year conflict, left deep scars on both nations and continues to shape their relations to this day. Following the US-led invasion of Iraq in 2003, Iran saw an opportunity to increase its influence in the region. It provided support to various Shia militias and political factions, effectively expanding its footprint in Iraqi politics. This strategic maneuver allowed Iran to counterbalance the presence of the United States and its allies in the region. Despite periods of cooperation, tensions between Iran and Iraq have persisted. The presence of US troops in Iraq remained a major point of contention, with Iran viewing it as a direct threat to its security. The complex interplay of these historical events continues to influence the dynamics between the two nations, shaping their current relationship. The unexpected death of President Raisi sent shockwaves through Iran and the international community. Observers speculated about potential shifts in Iran's foreign policy, particularly its approach towards Iraq. However, early indications suggest a continuation of the existing strategy, prioritizing stability and the preservation of Iranian interests in the region. Several factors point to the enduring nature of Iran's Iraq policy. Firstly, the core principles underpinning this approach, namely security and influence, remain unchanged. Iran remains deeply concerned about the potential for instability along its border and views a strong presence in Iraq as crucial to mitigating these risks. Secondly, the existing power structures within Iran, particularly the influential role of the clerical establishment, suggest continuity rather than abrupt change in foreign policy. Iran's continued support for its allies within the Iraqi government and its engagement in regional diplomacy further underscore its commitment to the current course. This approach reflects a calculated decision to prioritize long-term strategic goals over short-term adjustments in the wake of President Raisi's passing. Section 4. Global Echoes. The wider implications. Iran's unwavering stance on Iraq has significant implications for the broader Middle East. The region is already grappling with numerous challenges, including the ongoing Syrian civil war, the rise of extremist groups, and the complex dynamics between regional powers. Iran's continued influence in Iraq adds another layer of complexity to this already volatile mix. The United States, in particular, is closely watching Iran's moves in Iraq. Washington's efforts to counter Iranian influence in the region have been a cornerstone of its Middle East policy for decades. The Biden administration's approach to Iran has been characterized by a mix of diplomacy and sanctions, reflecting the complex challenges of engaging with Tehran. The interplay between Iran, the United States, and other regional actors will continue to shape the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. The outcome of this intricate game of influence will have far-reaching consequences for the stability and security of the region and beyond. Section 5. Expert Opinions. Deciphering the Future. Political analysts and experts on Iran have offered their perspectives on the implications of Iran's unchanged stance towards Iraq. Some argue that this continuity provides a degree of predictability in an otherwise turbulent region, potentially fostering dialogue and cooperation between Iran and its neighbors. Others express concerns that Iran's unwavering approach could exacerbate existing tensions, particularly with the United States and its allies. They argue that a more flexible and pragmatic approach from Tehran could pave the way for a more constructive relationship with the West. The divergent viewpoints underscore the complexity of the situation and the challenges of predicting future developments. Despite varying opinions, there is a general consensus that Iran's unwavering stance towards Iraq reflects a deeply ingrained strategic calculus. Understanding this calculus is crucial for policymakers and analysts seeking to navigate the complexities of Middle Eastern geopolitics. Section 6. The Unchanging Course. A legacy endures. In conclusion, the passing of President Raisi has ushered in a period of uncertainty and speculation regarding Iran's foreign policy trajectory. However, early indications suggest a continuation of the existing strategy, particularly towards Iraq. This steadfast approach underscores the deep-rooted principles and long-term objectives that guide Iran's actions on the world stage. Iran's unwavering stance on Iraq has profound implications for the Middle East and beyond. The region, already grappling with a myriad of challenges, faces further complexity as Iran asserts its influence. The United States and its allies are closely monitoring the situation, wary of Iran's growing regional footprint. As the mournful strains of traditional Iranian music fill the air, a sense of continuity pervades. Iran's foreign policy, much like the country's ancient history, appears to be on an unchanging course. The legacy of President Raisi, intertwined with the principles of the Islamic Revolution, continues to shape Iran's interactions with the world. The path ahead remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: Iran's unwavering stance on Iraq will continue to be a defining feature of its foreign policy for years to come.